Hello.
Good morning, Sister Kimberly. How is Chicago treating you?
Oh my goodness. Good morning, Dr. Umar.
Good morning. Good
Chicago is
morning.
treating me very, very well.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. I'll be in Chicago November the 16th. Thursday, November
I've
the
seen you
16th.
before.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's going to be a
And
live
my boyfriend was
podcast.
tripping too, because he was like, "That's your guy, Kim." I said, "That's right. So shut up."
Yes, ma'am.
I said it respectfully. I said, "So shh."
Yes,
And
ma'am.
we watched you. That's right.
Yes, ma'am. So tell me what's going on with your child, Sister Kim.
Okay. I don't know. It's really a lot. Well, my son is 12, and he has nonverbal autism, developmental delays. Now, because I have read your book and I've been listening to you for quite some time, I did get him into a private day school. We did due process, and they told me, they was like, "You need a lawyer." I said, "No, you don't." I said, "If that's the case, then, no one would do it because no one can afford.
That's right. That's right.
That. So I told him, I said, lies, lies, lies. I said, "I'll see you in due process." But the thing is, he used to hit me, because of his problem, and he would get, really physical and things like that. And while we were at the doctor a few weeks ago, it actually happened September 11th, he hit me with like this cleaning agent, like he threw it at my jaw. And my jaw had got fractured before. It wasn't fractured then, but it had got fractured before.
Now, Sister Kim,
Yes.
just for me to jump in briefly, I've been working with autistic kids and I've been evaluating autistic kids for 25 years. Having autism is never a justification for attacking your parent. He should not be throwing anything at you. He should not be attacking you, and definitely not at 12, because what is he going to be doing at 14 and 15? Physically attacking your parents, that is not a symptom of autism. So is there something else going on here? Why is he attacking his mother? No disability calls for that.
And, and it's so confusing to me because he spreads, I don't know, it's spreading fecal matter. It's normal because I know the doctor was telling me, his doctor.
You said spreading fecal matter is normal?
I'm asking, is that
No,
normal?
ma'am. No, ma'am. If a child is spreading fecal matter, that's a serious issue. First of all, let me ask you, is your son intellectually disabled?
Yes, he has developmental delays.
No. Stay with me. No, ma'am. Developmental delay is a developmental delay. An intellectual disability speaks to his operational level of intelligence. What is your son's operational level of intelligence?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, he does have a developmental delay.
No. Not intellectual disability. Does he have an intellectual disability?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is your son's IQ score?
Oh, they can't do IQ because they say because he's nonverbal.
Okay, but there are nonverbal intelligence. There are nonverbal intelligence tests, though. He doesn't have to be verbal. There are nonverbal intelligence tests. If a child isn't speaking, we give them a nonverbal intelligence test. But you're sure that there's an intellectual disability going on?
Yes, I know it is because, and I do have a question for you, Doc. It's almost like he's 12 now, and he's very, he's already 5'7". He's a big kid, he's already 5'7", pushing around 175. He's very, 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 very strong. And I'm not gonna lie to you, his father is not around. Dr. Ron, you may be a little bit mad at me, but when I was in my 20s, when I was around 25, I kind of bought into multiculturalism. Mm-hmm. And I thought that,
I understand. You
and
went bunny hopping for a little bit.
Right, his father is Caucasian. We're not together anymore because I wasn't dealing with that.
Okay. How often does he get to see his father? His father is Caucasian. How often does he get to see his father?
Well, this is the thing, Dr. Umar. His father left. He went to Guatemala, and he brought one of those women because he said they're very submissive. His brother had brought a woman from Guatemala as well. And so he was like, leave these American women alone, especially the black one. He said, they got mouth. His brother told him that, And he said, go to Guatemala. You may have to pay a little bit, but at least you won't have to deal with all of the drama. And that's what he told me.
Okay, now take me back to let me take you back. Okay, he hasn't seen, is the father in Chicago?
Oh, no, he's in Guatemala.
Okay, when's the last time your father seen his son?
He's seen him maybe the last time when he was about 4.
He hasn't seen his father since he was 4 years old, and he's 12?
4. Yes, and I told him, I said, Byron, if you want to see Christ, if you want to see our son, you're more than welcome. But as far as you and I concerned, we're done. But, I said, I know children need fathers. Of course, especially boys. They need their father. But I am blessed that my father, is 92. He's wonderful. And he's still, got all his faculties, doing well. So he's kind of, he's helped a lot. And I have 2 big brothers, so they've stepped in, So he does have positive male role models. And when, he also has a one-on-one aide, and he's a male.
Okay.
So, I tried to make sure he's surrounded by males.
Okay, what I'm trying to figure out, because you don't know his IQ score, right? You don't know your son's intelligence score?
No, but we did do IEP and everything. But they told me that they did observe him in the classroom. Because we had due process. They basically told me, they was like, they said this mom cares. And they said if it was the other way around, let's just say she was hitting him, we wouldn't hesitate to, correct that. They said, what if, next time it's a brick? Because, we're not talking about like little hits here. We're talking about slamming my fingers in the door.
Your son slams your fingers in the door. He spreads feces. He stole. How long, listen to me. How long has your son been attacking you? How many years? How long has he been physically assaulting you? Say that again.
2 years.
2 years. Okay. Okay. It's okay. It's okay that you have, you got to let that pain out. You got to let that pain out. That has to be a tough thing. That has to be tough on you.
But Doc, I got to tell you this before we go on. But what happened is because the doctor saw him hit me like that, they kind of stepped in. And they said, he shouldn't be hitting you like that. I can still visit, I still see him. I still visit him. I still have.
Okay, so your son is institutionalized right now?
Yes, right now.
How long has he been institutionalized?
It's only been since September 11th.
Okay.
And I just want to know, did I do the right thing, Doc? Because I can still see him. As a matter of fact, I'm going tomorrow. Later on today in the morning.
Is he on medication? Is he on medication?
They started it about a month ago.
What does he take?
What's that called? 𝚂𝚗𝙕.
Okay. And he was on no meds before that?
He was on nothing before because I was against that. I was like, I don't want to do that. But they said, Kim, we think in his case he might. They said, because they said your case is a little different. They said, this isn't exactly, they said, this isn't, I just want some attention. This is, big.
Well, yeah, this is more than autism. This is much more than autism. Has your son been diagnosed with a psychotic disorder? Do you know?
That's what they're talking about now.
What about schizophrenia? Did they say psychotic disorder, or did they say schizophrenia?
They didn't say psychotic. I'm sorry, they didn't say schizophrenia, but they said psychotic disorder.
Okay. That sounds about right. I don't know if the father, had some bad genes, or I don't know if this runs in the father's side of the family.
It does. Two of the children have it.
Wait a minute. Two of his white father's children have
not the white children, two of the nephews.
Two of the father's white nephews have psychotic disorder.
Yes.
Did you know that before you conceived the child with the white man?
I knew about one, but but I'm thinking, that's his sister, actually even a half sister. So I'm like, what's the odds of that happening to me? I didn't really, because I said, nothing runs in my family like that. So I didn't really think anything of it. But unfortunately, I think that's what's happened. He picked it up from there.
Okay.
I mean, just the genes,
Okay. Well, I don't like our children to be institutionalized, but under the circumstances, I don't think you had a choice. I hope they don't over-medicate him, because that's what they do to black children, especially those with psychotic disorders. I also think his son is frustrated. I don't know if he's getting the help he needs. I don't know if he gets the attention he needs. Or their sibling.
He gets all the attention because he's the only grandchild.
He's the only grandchild, but how many other children do you have?
Just one. It's just him.
Wait a minute. You're the grandmother?
No. I'm the mother. But I only have one child.
He's your only child.
Yes. And you talking about all the love and support. Because he can be sweet some things, hugging me, kissing me. Sometimes, every now and then, he'll say, mama, mama. Sometimes. Usually he's nonverbal, but occasionally he's mama, mama. He says certain things, like mama. He knows, he gets attention. Like I said, we didn't mistreat him. We treat him very well. Matter of fact, if anything, I may have even overindulged because, Dr. Umar, I'm not going to lie to you too about this. I felt kind of guilty. I felt guilty for him. So bad. So I would let him do things maybe I let him stay up a little later than I should have, sometimes. Or if he wanted that last, like, I don't know, like there was like one Pop-Tart. It was his favorite. I would let him have it, I wanted to make sure he was happy. But, the hitting and all of that, and the spitting, all that started like about 2 years ago, I want to say.
Okay. Okay, well, we hope things get better. We pray for the young man and yourself. You have my number, so if we ever need to speak, privately, just shoot me a text message and we can schedule that.
And Dr. Umar, I was going to ask you, could I sign up with you? And I don't mind paying whatever fee, because my boyfriend too, he thinks it's a good idea. And Dr. Umar, and by the way, I have a new boyfriend in my life, a new gentleman, and he's black. Of course, he's wonderful, and him and Bryson loved each other. They were good friends. I never left him alone. Of course, you don't do that. It wasn't like that. But he loved Bryson, and he said, but he did tell me, he said, Kim, with him hitting you, because he would get upset. Not with me, but with him. He wouldn't get upset with him when he would hurt him. He would tell me, like, Kim, I know you may not want to hear this, but he said, this ain't quite normal. He said, I don't think this is normal, baby. He said, I think you may need to take him, into the doctor. And I had taken him before, and they told me, eventually you may have to institutionalize him. And I didn't want to hear that, I was like, oh, well, I'll take care of him. I said, you guys don't know what you're talking about. I'll take care of him. But then it became too much for even me. And
I got you.
It's just too much.
I understand. I understand.
I'm sorry, Tom.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. It's not easy being a black mother, a single mother, parent of a psychotic child. That's not easy. So don't blame yourself. I just want you to make sure you stay involved in his treatment at that facility, because if they don't see you coming up there, they'll be more likely to pile the drugs on, and he could even be mistreated by the staff. So you have to go up there. They have to see you. You got to ask questions. Make sure you stay involved, because they will mistreat your son when you're not looking, and they will overdose him on those medications. So just make sure you stay involved.
Oh, yes. I go every week, sometimes twice a week. I go every week, sometimes twice a week. I got him into the private day school.
Okay.
And I know that's a good thing. They said the fact that I got him into that private day school, they said that's really good.
Okay.
Because they say the public school, they couldn't handle it. It was too much for them.
Okay.
I mean, he had even ran around naked at the school. And they were like, they called me. He's like, Miss Rhodes, he's running around. He's naked. What do we do? I said, well, did you catch him? You know, I'm just trying to joke, you know,
right.
to keep him crying. But yes, you know, we finally calmed him down. But, you know, that's just a coping mechanism that I have. But, you know, it is tough. It's very tough.
I understand. I understand. Stay prayed up.
His feet, you know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to go to the next caller. But you have my number, so feel free to text me if I need to call you and if we need to set up a consultation. But go easy on yourself. Enjoy this time while your son is away, because he won't be away forever. So make sure you take this time to get yourself together, so when he does come home, you'll be able to focus on him. So I would take this time to, you know, get yourself together while he's in there, because he won't be there forever, you know, and get ready to receive him when he comes home. And we could talk about some things that you need to do when he does come home, because you're going to need a serious behavior plan in that home. You're going to have wraparound services, a behavior specialist, a mobile therapist, an intensive case manager. And we're going to also have to get to a point where we can introduce him to some independent living. Of course, this is 5-6 years away from now, but we're going to have to start getting him prepared for independent living, because you will not always be there for him, and he's going to have to learn how to navigate this world. Because what we don't want is what we see so often in our community, where a lot of our psychotic brothers and sisters are on the street, homeless, because they've shut down so many mental health hospitals and turned them into prisons. And so we don't want that for him. So we got to teach him some basic living skills so he can navigate this world and take care of himself when the time comes, or if there ever comes a time where you're not available to care for him. So let's talk again soon. You have my number.
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
Thank
Queen.
you so
No
much,
problem.
Doc.
God bless.
Much love.
Much
Thank
love.
You. God
All right,
bless
King.
you.
No problem. No
Thank
problem.
you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Stop mixing your seed. Stop mixing your seed. Stop mixing your seed. No more bunny hopping. No more bunny hopping. No more bunny hopping.
Morning, Dr. Umar.
Good morning, Sister Sierra. Where you calling from?
I'm calling from Virginia.
What part?
Hopewell.
Hopewell. That's near, what's your major? Richmond or Petersburg?
Yeah.
Richmond.
Closer to Petersburg, but
Closer to
Richmond is the closest metropolitan area.
Okay, we'll be down that way celebrating Nat Turner at the Nat Turner Library on November the 11th. You should think about coming on down there with us.
Absolutely, I will.
No problem. Tell me what's going on with your 3-year-old.
Okay, so My question is simple. I really just want to know, like, how to mitigate some of the, like, the bad behaviors that he's been seeing from not only for his father's side, but, you know, for me when I'm triggered by certain things that they do. Like, for example, yesterday there was like this really huge argument that ensued because his father was supposed to get him at a certain time, and he didn't because he was sleeping, but he lied and said he was at work. But the thing is that, you know, the whole family began to berate me for speaking on it. And so really, I'm doing everything that I can do to try to make sure that I have that my son is healthy and well-rounded, and I don't want to keep him away from his father's side of the family, because I know that they won't cause physical harm to him, but they're not in a place where they're even willing to try to understand other perspectives or be empathetic, or even just put him at the center of their actions. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out what else can I do to help lessen some of these scars that are occurring now.
Okay, so there's no abuse against your son, right, by the family?
Not against my son.
Okay, but you're saying there's verbal abuse against you trying to establish that co-parenting relationship. Am I off there a little bit?
Yes. No, you're not off. You're pretty much spot on. I did not include like the history of physical abuse of his father towards me, but you're spot on.
So in a perfect world, if you had it your way, what would the father and or his family be doing?
They would be doing their part, like as far as supporting him, my son financially. My sons, I have two of them, financially and emotionally. You would take on some of these responsibilities, paying for their doctor's visit, taking them to some doctor's visits, setting up their appointments, going over his schoolwork with him. Just all the things that parents do. It just seems that they just want to have them on holidays, and whenever they feel they like to have the fun stuff, but never take care of any of the day-to-day responsibilities. They want everything brought to them. I'm working on reminding myself that I don't have to do these things, but I'm trying to do whatever I can to make sure that my son has has his father. But like from they want me to bring him to them with food and like not paying for no food, no clothes, nothing. Just zero consideration or respect for anything or anyone. And it's hard sometimes because I have a hard time accepting that sometimes people can be this way, and there are reasons, but I don't know what to, I think that I'm being overly empathetic sometimes.
Okay, so it almost sounds like neither dad or his family are as willing to be involved as they should.
Yes, but they're attempting to make it seem as though I'm keeping him away.
But the truth is they don't want to be bothered. Or do they do want to be bothered, but under certain circumstances?
They want to be bothered when they feel like being bothered, and not when our child actually needs them. Okay,
so when they're ready for him, they'll let you know. Outside of that, they don't want you to be bothered. They don't want you bothering them until they let you know they want them.
basically, or they'll say, I'll just stick with the father. And he'll say he's going to do something and never does it. And say, oh, I'll help with daycare, and then gamble the money away. Or, oh, I'm gonna make sure he has some diapers, and it doesn't happen.
Now, let me ask you a question. Are you still sexually involved with the father?
No,
You're
absolutely not.
Okay. And how far away does he live from you?
About 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes. And you often mention the family, which is a good thing. The family should be involved, but normally the parent leads when it comes to the caretaking of the child. Why do you mention a family as much as you mention a father? Does he live with the family? Are they a little more involved than him? Why do you mention a family as much as the father?
Because he does currently currently lives with his mother and his aunt, because I kicked him out of my home after he threw me on the stairs.
Okay, so he's physically abusive.
Yes.
Okay. As much as I hate to have the courts involved because he is physically abusive, well, technically they don't have to get involved. What you could do is arrange to drop your son off somewhere, maybe at the family's house, and then the father will come to the family's house after you drop him off. But I'm not sure if it's safe for you to be directly interacting with the father if there's a possibility for harm.
So I'll say this: I do have stuff in with the courts, and I do have a protective order. So it's a very complicated situation, but I will say that I was given information that later in court, I found, like, I was told that his dad had OD'd, but later in court, it came out that he stated that he didn't. He had pneumonia. And after that incident, though, I didn't know. I was just went off of what I was told, and I stopped even allowing for him to be able to get them. Prior to that, I was just saying, get them from the daycare, pick them up from the daycare, drop them off the daycare. We don't have to have any kind of contact. But he never did that. For at least a 2-month span, he never went to get them before the hospital incident.
Okay. I commend your attempts to get the father and his family more involved in your son's life. However, you can't force it. If they don't want to be bothered, there's not much you're going to be able to do. You may end up stressing yourself out. I think in the meantime, until they decide to step up to the plate more consistently, you probably have to depend on the resources you have available to you within your family and within your social and community network. But constantly trying to force, especially when you're dealing with a domestically abusive dad, I don't know if that will just end up leading you to be stressed out and maybe even burned out. Now, the toughest decision you're going to have to make is, do you send him over there when they want to be bothered? And my answer to that is, if they are reputable individuals, if they are reputable, then I think I would let him go. Even though that's not fair, even though they should be spending more time with him, but at least you get a break, and at least he does get to spend your sons do get to spend time with the other side of the family. So I know it's not fair, but you can't force anybody to do what they don't want to do.
Right. I just want to know how to mitigate, like, what can I say to my son? How can I help him process the things that he see? I have a very, very smart, and my son, yes, he's 3. I'm telling you, he's very, very smart.
Now, your other son is how old?
7 months.
7 months. Okay. So you were not that long ago involved with the dad. Are you? Let me ask you a question. And this is the therapist in me. Because we always have to highlight potential issues that the client is not discussing. because your youngest is 7, do you think it's possible that one of the reasons you're forcing so strongly or advocating so strongly for the father and his family to get involved is because you may still be emotionally on the emotional level? I know you said you're not physically involved with the father anymore, but is it possible that you may still be emotionally in love even with the father?
I don't, not romantically in love, but I do very much love him and care about him, and I'm concerned that I know what his childhood was like and what he had to go through. And I think that's where I say sometimes I might be a little over sympathetic in a sense, because he didn't grow up with his father. He didn't grow up with his mother. He was in foster care. So,
okay, does he know his parents? Does your son's father know his parents?
Yes.
And why did they give him up for foster care?
Mom, so he never knew his dad until a few years ago. He never had met his dad until a few years ago, but his mother grew up in an abusive relationship with his brother's father, and his brother's father was terrible to him as well, and the courts ended up, well, first the courts put them in the house with his brother's father, and then they ended up taking him out and putting him in a foster care, and he just aged out of foster care. He grew up in a group home. So
Okay. You know, I feel at a deep level, and this is to commend you. I feel at a deep level you want your family, and that you want the extended family support that comes with that. I feel you want the father to do his job. I feel you want him home with you and the children, which is nothing wrong with that. Perfect. You know, that's the way it should be. And you want the extended family involved. And I think that's a good thing. But at the same time, I need you to temper your desire and expectation, which is completely healthy, by the way. But I'm going to need you to temper that with the reality that you are dealing with a man who could be broken spiritually. He may very well be broken spiritually. And I need you to understand there's nothing you can do to change him. Nothing at all. And what I don't want you to do is to become an enabler. A lot of black mothers, y'all become enablers to these abusive, uninvolved fathers, where y'all kind of accept any kind of treatment or mistreatment because you so desperately want him to be involved in the family, which is understandable. But based off what you said, he's dealing with a lot of demons of his own that he is not yet ready to face. Being put up for foster care, father wasn't there, mother wasn't there. He has a lot of pain in him. He has a lot of unanswered questions. And I'm willing to believe the reason he's so domestically abusive towards you is because he's displacing and transferring the pain he has towards his mother. He's given all that to you. So you're dealing with a man who is in deep need of spiritual and psychological help. And I don't think he's at a point in his life where he's ready to seek that help. So to be honest, as much as you want him home, I'm not sure I share your sentiment. Because if he comes home, I think he's going to abuse and beat up on you as a way to cope with his own internal demons. So if anything, I think you should be urging him to get some help right now, because he would not be the man you need him to be if he came home right now. And I also suspect that there's probably some chemical abuse somewhere. Does he drink? Does he smoke too much?
So, Dr. Umar, yes, you're right. He does. I don't want to be in a home with him anymore. I've come to accept that I want princess treatment. Like, I'm done with that. I did that for 6 years, but I do want him to be a part of my son's life. But I don't want my son to be doing the same things as him. But at the same time, I don't want to break up my family and just totally ostracize him from my sons either. So that's what I'm trying to juggle.
And the other thing too, I want you to understand, foster children, they react to family by either rejecting family or the importance of family. Okay. Or like what your son's father's, like your son's father is doing, you know, family is not important because he didn't have one, potentially. Or what a lot of foster children will do is they will pursue family more deeply and more sincerely than regular people would, because they understand how important family is because they never had it. So some foster children will react to a family by building one. Like they want a wife, they want children, they want stability because they never had it. And it seems right now that your son's father is reacting to his trauma of being abandoned by his parents. He's reacting to that by rejecting family. It sounds like he may be of the mindset, I didn't have my dad, I didn't have my mom, my son will be fine not seeing me all the time. And you got to also understand, parents can be jealous of their children. Maybe the father feels like the love he sees you showing for his sons is the love he wished his mother showed to him. And he could be jealous of the fact that his sons is getting what he never had. He could also be unwilling to provide his sons with the love and nurture that he never had. So either way, you're dealing with a traumatized man, and a traumatized person, male or female, will never make a good partner. So I think you should just focus on being the best mom you can. When they do ask to see the children, I would let them, but I would not be in any way, shape, form, or fashion trying to make a family with that damaged brother, because you're only going to get hurt more and more. He won't be consistent with you because he's not ready to face his childhood trauma. When we don't face our trauma, we bring it with us. When we don't forgive our parents, we bring it with us. We actually become the very parent we hate. We become the very parent we dislike. We become the very parent who abused us. That's the irony of child abuse. If you don't face your demons, if you don't face your trauma, if you don't forgive your parents, you will become them. They will become the demon that you will use to abuse your own children.
Thank you.
Okay, but stay strong, stay strong. I'm here. If we ever need to talk again, just reach out to me. But focus on you right now. You don't need that in your life because he's a spiritual vampire. Any emotionally unhealthy African, any person who's been through trauma, they have to face it and overcome it if they're going to be any good in anybody else's life. And the problem that we have in our community, Black woman, is so many of us have been traumatized, haven't faced it, haven't dealt with it, but yet we looking for love, which means all we're going to do is dump our trauma off into someone else's life who do not deserve that. Traumatized Black people do not need to be getting married. They don't need to be looking to have kids. They don't need to be looking to settle down until they face their issues.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you so much.
No problem, Queen. Be blessed.
Praise you.
All right now. If you have a question, the line is open. Text your name and your city, 215-989-9858. If you have a question about your child, text your name or city, 215-989-9858. If you have a question about your child, text your name or city, 215-989-9858. Niagara Falls, Canada. I may be coming to you soon for the first time. Niagara Falls, Canada. I might be coming to you soon for the first time. Niagara Falls, Canada. I may be coming to you for the first time. The lines are open. If you have a question about your child, learning disability, autism, IEP, snow bunny racism, 504 plans, placement decisions, learning plans, civil rights amendments, segregation in the classroom, free and appropriate public education, functional behavioral assessment, if you have early intervention, speech and language, math disability, autism. If you have a question about your child, text your name and your city, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. Let's see if any parents.
Has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Questions about your children. This is the Black Parent Teleconference. I will be hosting a Black Parent Know Your School Rights Boot Camp in Memphis Thanksgiving weekend. I will be hosting a Black Parent Know Your School Rights Boot Camp in Memphis Thanksgiving weekend. I will be hosting a Black Parent Know Your School Rights Boot Camp in Memphis Thanksgiving weekend.
Hello?
Good morning, Sister Layla. How's Harlem treating you?
Good morning. Good morning. Peace, peace. Dr. Umar, I really appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
So my question, hold on, I think I'm going to turn off my, okay, my question is this. So I grew up in Harlem. I've been an educator for 15 years. I worked at the Harlem Children's Zone, and I worked at public schools, and I worked for many organizations, the Boys and Girls Club, as a director of creative arts. I always knew that I wanted to adopt a child, inshallah, and I'm just timing it as to when I should, because I have 2 male children. My oldest son is 15, my youngest is 10. I went through the whole process, and actually, currently I'm working as a case planner. I'm not going to say which agency, but I work with the biological parents and the foster parents and the children. So I manage about 10 cases right now. I'm just calling to ask you, when would you think is a good time? Because obviously right now I'm pouring into my children. Like my son and both my sons are doing really well in school and things like that. But just in terms of what age do you think I should adopt, or when do you think I should give them more time? I've learned a lot about like what happens to children in care. You're absolutely right. I was very shocked to see how many mixed children wind up going into the foster care system because their mother is a white woman and realizes that she doesn't want to have a Black child.
Yes.
There's so many different dynamics to this, and just advocating for our community to open up their hearts and their minds to adopting and rescuing these children, because literally the agency I work for has a whole entire campus of children who are in care. And these children just experience such a tremendous amount of trauma because these people do not know what the hell they're doing. They do not know what they're doing. And it's a huge like problem within our community. I don't think people understand like how many children, indigenous children, our children are in this system. And for years, I have some cases where children have been in care for like 7 years, or they get adopted and then they get turned back because sometimes these women, just women in general, sometimes can't have children, and these are the people who want to adopt our children for fun because they can't have children. And I don't want to go on and on. I want to just ask you, my question is, inshallah, I'm making intention. I made intention like 10 years ago when I was a college student to one day adopt a child, but I want to be sensitive to the fact that my children are 15 and 10. And when I did do the program, the training, I had to understand that if you adopt a child that's been sexually molested, they can in turn sometimes like project that or do things to your own children. So I've been waiting for my children to get a little older.
Yes.
So that's my question.
Okay, great question. Great question. You're absolutely right. Too many Black children are in the foster care system. The mixed race African children, you're absolutely right there as well. Mixed race children are more likely to be put up for foster care for the reason you said. These white women, these snow bunnies, when they come to the realization that they're giving birth to a Black child, they abandon them. And some of them don't even give them to the adoption agency. They'll leave them in a restaurant, leave them in a hotel room, leave them on the father's front step, you know, which I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of black men who be out here bunny hopping, you know, don't understand that when that white woman gets pregnant, she may very well abandon your child. And sometimes you don't even know you had a child, because she'll give the child up for adoption because she don't even want the father to know that she was even pregnant. So when we talk about this whole snow bunny crisis, this snow bunny crisis gets very deep when children are conceived and when children are involved, because these white mothers will take those children and drop them off on anybody, give them to the foster care system, so forth and so on. So that whole foster care piece, that is an unexplored side and one of the consequences of the snow bunny crisis. But I want to commend you for being willing to, you know, adopt or foster parent. Are you looking to adopt or be a foster parent?
A foster parent.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about the timing. I'm in a first-time home ownership class, so inshallah, I'm making intentions of purchasing a home right now. So It's just all about the timing for me.
I got you.
But
I got
in
you.
terms of my oldest is 15 and my youngest is 10.
Got you. Okay. As far as the age of the child that you adopt, a lot of that is based on personal preference. The most desired black children are the youngest ones.
The babies.
Yes, the babies go first. The infants go first because people can raise them as their own children. There's really no trauma there. You know, there's been no abuse yet, except what could have happened in utero, you know, if the parent was on drugs or alcohol, fetal syndrome or something to that effect. You know, so if you want to go from scratch, you know, you could do the infant. Now, the toughest child to adopt or foster parent is the teenage black child. Once they hit 10 years old, nobody wants them. You know, the foster care system is filled up with black teens and black preteens.
We literally have a campus of children, and these children run away from the campus, literally, like, because the system has changed, and we don't talk about the juvenile detention, but this is the pipeline from that. Because a lot of the kids, the young brother who was strangled to death the other day, who was like impersonating Michael Jackson, he was a child who aged out of foster care. So yeah, absolutely. Once they become teenagers, it's very difficult, but they still are in the care of the county, so they have to put them up in these campuses.
I got you. Now, as far as the sexually abused children, I totally agree with you. I would not bring a child who has experienced sexual abuse in the home, not a teenager, if I have children in there. No way. The sexually abused child could not be older than my children, number one. And if it is a child who's experienced some sex abuse, they would have to be young. In other words, they would not be able to take advantage of my children or anyone else in the immediate environment. You know, the sex abuse children is very tough. But the problem is, so many of the children in the foster and adoptive care system, they do have some history of sex abuse because they were neglected. So it's hard to get around that.
And also the caseworkers are not going to disclose what's in the notes to you, per se.
Well, that's another problem. That's another problem.
Yeah, they may not disclose the whole history.
I agree. I agree.
So sometimes, because I'm working right now with foster parents, and they don't get the full information because the home finders are just so, in a state of emergency to try to get these children placed.
Yes.
They kind of make things sound better than what they really are.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They do deceive.
To take these children to all these mental health appointments, and you think that they can just quickly get over this trauma. This trauma lasts for years.
Yes, they do deceive.
You have to be prepared for that also. But thank you so much for answering my question. I don't want to take up too much time.
It's okay, Queen.
Put a lot of things in perspective for me.
No problem. And I commend you for that, because most black people, because, we suffer from selfishness disorder. Most black people would never consider being a foster parent or an adoptive parent. And, I even recommend, and I don't know if you want to start with that, being an emergency care parent.
Arrested.
Yes.
Especially, brother, because I have actually 3 babies right now. We have a lot of babies who are being born addicted to meth.
Yes.
Especially, I'm in New York, but Philly and New York area, it's crazy right now. And when the babies, as soon as they're born, and the doctors can tell that there's toxins in the baby, they take them out of the care of the mother. So it's a huge strain right now. So yeah, respite is great, but I want to be able to do that because of the level of care that's needed for babies. Like I don't think I can maintain my job and be up all night long.
I got you. No, I got you.
I'm gonna do a child. But thank you so much.
No problem, Queen. Be blessed. Yes,
all right,
ma'am. All right now.